not his wife, not his children, not the doctor, not Obama. What a person considers futile, then he asks, like that old lady came to Yosef Bachalafta and said, I'm too old. My life is futile. Then I'm willing to listen. But for someone to sit in judgment on somebody else and say that life is futile, he has, Baruch Hashem, a large family. Ever I come in there, he's surrounded by 6, 7, 8 people, actively involved with them, cracking jokes on the computer. Right? But what? He can't play basketball, he can't play hockey, right? Therefore his life is futile. I'll tell you a personal incident. I'm officially chaplain to the sheriff's office in Rockland County. It's a wonderful position. No one bothers me, but I get a sticker I can put in my window and on my windshield so I can park without putting any coins in the machine. That's a big difference. Okay. 18-year-old boy is on a motorcycle, has to have his leg amputated. A non-Jewish boy, but I don't want them to talk to him, so the chaplain, the captain called me. I'll go speak to him. We're making a meeting with the judge. He refuses to let his leg be cut off. I come there, there's a little lady judge, around the width was more than the height, right? And she's now interrogating him. She asked him, who's the president? What's today's date? How old are you? Well, he refuses to have surgery, you can't touch him. So I sit down and talk to this fellow. I said, why don't you want to let him cut you? You're going to die by 2, 3 days. Gangrene is already set in. Why do you want to die? He says, they cut off my leg, I can't ride my bike. You can't ride your bike, his motorcycle, that's a futile existence. For him, futile. Stupid, stupid little boy. He can't ride his motorcycle. It took me 3 days, during which time he was already running high fever. Finally convinced him to let his leg be cut off. I brought in 2 students from yeshiva who have prosthetic devices, right, who showed him life can go on with a prosthetic device also. And finally convinced him to do so. So who's going to decide on futility? In American law, and most like Canadian law as well, that boy was right. No doctor could touch him without going to jail. Because he declared his life futile, therefore refused therapy. And the judge said he's sentient, he's an intelligent fellow, he knows what the date is, therefore you can't do anything without his permission. That's basically the message that I want to share with you. To sum up very simply, the halacha recognizes sanctity of life. In medical ethics, every good medical ethicist recites a mantra in the morning. Beneficence, non-maleficence, autonomy, and justice. Every case is evaluated by those 4 standards. Beneficence, are you doing good? Non-maleficence, are you doing any harm? Justice, are you treating everybody equally? And autonomy, are you doing what the patient wants? Jewish medical ethics, Torah ethics, adds one more thing. That's sanctity of life. That life is a value even if you're lying in bed on a ventilator. Sanctity of life opposes autonomy. Even though he says, I don't want to live because I can't ride my bike, comes the halacha and says, sanctity of life, don't you listen to him. The anesthetist is going to make him go to sleep anyway. Go to sleep, he'll wake up without his leg, let him yell. Kadosh Baruch Hu said, you have to save this man. You have a mitzvah in the Torah. Lo samol adam re'echo, you can't stand idly by while a boy is dying. We recognize quality of life, nevertheless. I gave you all those cases. The decision, therefore, how to handle any one case requires the careful analysis that can come only when a rabbi who's familiar with medical procedure, familiar with medical science, and a doctor who is sensitive to that one issue, do you respect the sanctity of life? Together, you can make a decision what to do with any one patient. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have a quick couple of questions. In the first place, if the patient or the...
Talk a little bit louder. I got older since I started.
Yeah, if the patient or the individual decides about the futility of his or her own life, where does the Jewish religion stand on the matter of suicide when a person has decided that their life has no meaning indeed? That's my first question. My second question has to do with what appears to me somewhat paradoxical, in the sense that you say that oxygen, food, and water are necessities that cannot be denied, and yet a ventilator can be denied after Shabbos, or the Shabbos clock. So those are my questions.
Let me answer the second question first, as you're supposed to, by Jewish tradition. The point that you're missing is the difference between interrupting therapy, cessation of therapy, and initiation of therapy. If a person comes in on a real accident and so badly mangled there's no way he could live, we wouldn't put him on a ventilator. We'd give him morphine to make him as comfortable as we can. The gimmick on the clock was to convert a situation where you're dealing with cessation of therapy, right, and change it into initiation of therapy. That's what caused the objection to it. He followed, basically, the rules of the game. The rules of the game is that a doctor prescribes for a limited time, after which he has to make a new evaluation. And that's what the idea with the Shabbos clock, to force a new evaluation of the patient, and now should we initiate a new therapy, namely another ventilator. The first question, again, concerned...
Suicide.
I'm sorry?
Suicide,
right.
When the patient deems his or her life.
Right. Okay. There was never a circumstance where you approve active euthanasia. Here, the question allows me to make this point that's important. Removing oxygen from a patient is active euthanasia, not passive. The secular world, I stopped, I pulled the plug, that's called passive. You pull the plug, that's active. When you take away someone's oxygen, or take away his water, something essential for life, that's the sugya goes on in Talmud about putting a man in a marble mausoleum and closing the door and lighting a candle to help use up the oxygen. For lighting the candle, he's looked upon as a murderer, he'll be put to death. The removal of oxygen is tantamount to suicide. Even though the patient says, I don't want the ventilator, we don't listen to him, because suicide is never allowed in Jewish law, and it's illegal in secular law as well. Just usually, when he succeeds, it's hard to punish him again. Right? But the people who help him commit suicide, they'll be brought to trial, because suicide is a capital offense in almost all countries.